Namaskar and very good afternoon. Dear learners, I Dr. Renu Tomar welcome you on the lecture on philosophy of teaching. Philosophy of teaching is part and parcel of foundation of philosophical education. Here we shall be trying to analyze and understand different aspects of philosophy of teaching, like education being a liberal discipline and its interdisciplinary nature. We shall also try to understand certain basic concepts which are linked with philosophy of teaching, like we will try to unravel and understand how teaching is different from training, how learning is different from teaching, and how it is related to the teaching. Apart from that, we will also try to understand what is the difference between teaching and inquiry, teaching and indoctrination, of course with respect to the child. So friends, on this note, I Dr. Renu Tomar again welcome you on the lecture on philosophy of teaching. Now let us try to understand what is education. As we know, education is a systematic process through which all of us, may it be the child, may it be the adult, everybody goes through, because each one of us are trying to acquire knowledge, experience, skill and sound attitude. This is a lifelong process in which all of us are engaged throughout the life. In fact, we would say that it is education which makes a person civilized, refined, cultured and educated. That whenever we say that a person is educated, what does it mean? It means that a person is cultured, refined, and apart from that, the person, it's not just literate, it means the person has understanding and knowledge of certain social perspective, apart from that certain psychological perspective, economic perspective, and he is skilled in a way that he can be utilized in the grown up world as being a person who is of such some importance. That means he can work, he can earn his livelihood. So for a civilized and socialized society, education is the only mean. Its goal is to make an individual perfect in different dimensions. Education as a system is a large one. It is nearly impossible to predict its behavior over a distant future, because the parameters of the system are something which keeps on changing. This is a system which is dynamic. It is having the impact of different agencies and different disciplines as well. That is why whenever we talk about education, we say it's liberal, because it has the representation of different discipline and it keeps on changing its mode and its vision as far as the different indicators are concerned. And who provides those indicators? Those indicators are provided by the society and community in which that education exists. From the perspective of educators, we would say that knowledge is interdisciplinary and education repackages perhaps for the enhancement of its own as a discipline and provides to the students. Friends, those of us who are doing B.Ed, B.L.Ed, B.A. education, why are you studying foundation of education? And when you are studying foundation of education, why are you understanding and learning philosophical side, psychological side, sociological, even you are through research trying to understand what scientific parameters are and what scientific studies are. Because whenever you study research, you understand not just analytical studies, you also understand experimental studies. So that means that education is a discipline, is quite liberal. It has taken into cognizance different discipline for its own usage and accordingly moderated them, manipulated them for its own usage. Now let us try to understand what is the difference between disciplinarity, cross-disciplinarity and multidisciplinarity. As far as unidisciplinarity is concerned, this means one discipline works to address the problem which is intended for. For example, chemistry. Chemistry is only trying to understand how the chemical dispositions or chemicals are having impact in different fields, may it be in the human body or may it be in the environment. So they are only addressing the problems related to chemicals. And whenever we talk about cross-disciplinarity, it means two or more disciplines work side by side without mutual involvement to solve their problems. And these disciplines are confined to their discipline only. Now to take the example, when we say socio-psychology, sociology will work in its own domain and psychology will work in its own domain, and they will be confined to their own disciplines, but they would be unraveling the problems which will be defined, and in a way in their own domain they will be finding the answers to certain aspects. Genetics, if you try to understand genetics, try to understand from the different dimensions, and they work in a the chemistry is also involved when we talk about genetics, biology is also involved when we talk about genetics. So, but is it multidisciplinarity? No, it is cross-disciplinarity, because it is trying to unravel the problems which are in different disciplines, and those different disciplines work in their own domain only. Now, let us talk about multidisciplinarity. That means two or more disciplines work independently on a common problem. Let us try to understand it this way, that when we talk about poverty, economics study it differently, sociology study it differently. So, they are the two disciplines which are independently trying to understand the common problem, which is poverty. In it, there is little or no commonality in terminology, methodology to address the problem. Practitioners work within their own discipline, they recognize that there exist different facts to the common problem, but still they are delimited to their own discipline. Now, let us try to understand what is transdisciplinarity. Transdisciplinarity means two or more disciplines work together on a common problem with some overlap in methodology and terminology. There would be some integration between the disciplines also likely to occur, leading to common concepts, potentially new models and theories, but there is no complete overlap. So, we do have the socio-economic models, we do have the socio-psychological models. It is then that when we work in the transdisciplinarity, we overlap our own methodology and terminology also as to provide the new models, and that does not mean that there is going to be the complete overlap. Now, let us try to understand what is transdisciplinarity. Transdisciplinarity means the practitioners are confined to their traditional disciplines, but they would also be addressing the problem in the other disciplines, but mostly they are confined to their own discipline. Now, let us talk about the interdisciplinarity. What does interdisciplinary means? When we say it is disciplinary education is an interdisciplinary subject, that means two or more disciplines work integrally on the common problem. Like when we talk about the student absenteeism. Student absenteeism is also worked by sociology, it is also seen by psychology, and it is also seen by economics. So, these are the three different disciplines. These disciplines are synthesized and they extend to give discipline specific theories and concepts with potentially novel methodology that is relevant to all involved disciplines. That means the result will be socio-economic and psychological model which will be having understanding of all three disciplines. That model will be result of three disciplines, because three disciplines are synthesized to understand that problem and give the solution to it. So, here the practitioners feel at ease in all the three involved disciplines. That means the people who are working in education should be having some knowledge of psychology, should be having some knowledge of economics, should be having some knowledge of sociology, should be able to understand what scientific methods are. So, they should be having understanding of how science works and how the creative aspect is to be analyzed. So, that means when there is a person in education, what does that mean? That person is having knowledge of almost all the discipline, and apart from that he or she is specialized in one's own discipline. Like whenever we say that the person is a teacher of English, so that means the person is expert as far as teaching of English is concerned, but that also means that person has an understanding of sociology, psychology, economic, research, scientific aptitude, and he or she does have an understanding of all these disciplines, that means he has understood education, he has studied education, which is multidisciplinary in its approach. As far as education as a process is concerned, we have to understand here it is a process of human development as well as independent field of study or a discipline. Most of the content of the education is a result of interdisciplinary approach. Some fundamental questions related to education can be best answered by other disciplines. If you remember in my previous lectures, friends, when we talked about the normative philosophy, we talked about the ethic philosophy. Why did we talk about these core areas of philosophy? Because we wanted to understand that how education is having an impact of philosophy and how the philosophers through studying philosophy had an impact on education, how they had an impact on education. So that is why we need to understand philosophy also in detail, sociology also in detail, only to the extent that it is limited to the child, it is limited to the teachers, it is limited to the social context. So when we say that what is to be teach, then how do we realize that? We realize it by assessing the psychology, by assessing the pedagogy. So how to teach is related to practical side of the education, and psychology and pedagogy can answer this question. They provide methods and techniques of teaching. Psychology is an important part of research. It also provides us that how to measure, like whenever we say that what is to be taught and how it is to be taught, generally we go for the analysis of the student. Analysis of the student means that we are going from the research perspective, we are measuring and using statistics of psychology. And when we try to understand what to teach, that means the content of education has to be answered in combination by study of philosophy and sociology. Now let us try to understand why sociology. Sociology, because the education is being taught for the improvement of the society. So sociology plays a very important dynamism, because education has been developed by the society, and who studies society? Sociology. So what is to be taught? That would be answered by philosophy and sociology together. How it is to be taught, how to teach, that means pedagogy, would be answered by the subject. And apart from that, how it is to be taught, this is also answered by the research perspective using measurements and statistics of psychology. So here the psychology plays a very important role. Now let us try to understand why to teach. Who answers this question? We have tackled this question before also. It is answered by philosophers, because philosophy deals with the reality of life as well as ideals of life. In fact, to understand it better, we would say that why do we award doctorate of philosophy? When we say that the highest degree, which is PhD, is doctorate of philosophy, what does it mean? It means that philosophy is in the highest research degree. So in it, the researcher uses the thinking skills and find out the truth in the end by using different methods and concepts. So philosophy, which verifies the findings and criticizes the result of research. Thus philosophy is the mother of all sciences. So philosophy will answer the question for education, that why to teach, because it is something which deals with reality of life as well as ideals of life. And usually when we develop an education system, we develop with certain ideals also and realities also in mind. So friends, now we understand that why education is called interdisciplinary approach, interdisciplinary subject. So what does interdisciplinary approach mean? It means two or more disciplines which are used to solve any educational problem. For example, educational philosophy, educational psychology, educational sociology. These are the subjects which all of us have studied or studying at the UG level as well as PG level. Then the interdisciplinary approach, it is something which combines expertise of two or more disciplines to jointly address an area of commonly concern. To take another example, to make it more simpler, and here we are only talking about the foundation of education, where we are trying to understand the philosophical foundation or sociological foundation or psychological foundation of education. Now let us try to go further, and we say that when we talk about the teaching area, Suppose let us take the example again of teaching of English. Now what are we doing? We are taking the parameters of English, but we are combining it with the psychology, we are combining it with the philosophy. When we are trying to decide that how it is to be taught, here we are using the psychological approach, different kind of models which we are using, here we are using psychology, and of course the subject matter is confined to English literature, English prose or English grammar only. So that is why we see education is a interdisciplinary. Now when we say that why different subjects are required, because they improve the result of a research, is because they increase the mental efficiency of the student, because they minimize the subjectivity and departmental bias, because they support and give new opportunity for further research, because they help to think critically and help in connecting ideas. Education, as we know, it's a large system and it is very difficult to predict the behavior in over distant future. So education, as we understood it, it is packaging and repackaging the different subjects, may it be the English, may it be the science, may it be the mathematics, may it be the psychology, may it be the philosophy, may it be the sociology, in such a way that it becomes of relevance to the students, relevance to the other stakeholders. Who are the other stakeholders in education? They are the administrators, they are the teachers, they are the parents, they are, that is also the society in which the education is being imparted. So let us try to understand that the interdisciplinary means interdisciplinary curriculum. This means we need to incorporate interdisciplinary as well as disciplinary field perspective in the curriculum design. Since the goal of the interdisciplinary curriculum is to train future scholars and practitioners who can bridge multiple discipline in their work. That means it makes it important to develop a conceptual framework in which student can be taught interdisciplinary. What does it mean? It means that rather than going for multidisciplinary thinking, we are trying to develop the curriculum which has combination of all the disciplines. All the disciplines come together, they are being offered on a same platter to the students in such a manner they are mixed and remixed to make it useful, to make it healthy for the child and healthy for the citizens and for the future of the nation as well. So when we talk about the curriculum design, we have to understand how the curriculum design. Now let us take example of how Kirkpatrick is a well known name in the educational field. He gave 10 generic points in curriculum design and stated that they have to be taken into consideration as in the interdisciplinary curriculum that has to be designed. First point which has been proposed is establishing the learning needs. When we try to establish the learning needs, who will play an important role? Here the sociology, the philosophy will play an important role. Now we are defining learning objectives, who again the psychology, the sociology, the philosophy, and apart from that the subject for which the learning objectives are defined, that will come together and define those learning objectives. The third point which has been developed by the Kirkpatrick in designing the curriculum is determining an appropriate subject content. Here again that subject will play an important role, as we give an example of English. So English literature, the prose, the poetry will play an important role. But when we will talk about the teaching methodology, that means how to teach. Here the pedagogy, that means the psychology, and will play an important role. Then it is selecting participants. Who are the participants? The students. When we will select the participants, of course, that means we will have to measure the participants in such a manner that they should be eligible to be taught that particular content, that particular subject content. Now here again when we talk about measurement, again the psychology naturally comes into play. Now let us try to understand the another point which has been given or proposed by Kirkpatrick, that is determining the best schedule. How do we determine the best schedule? For determining the best schedule, of course, the psychology will play an important role, because generally we say that which is the best hour to study, we say morning. So who is designing it? Who is deciding it? Of course, the psychology, because that is studying the brain of the child, brain of the people, brain of the person at large. Then then the difficulty level of the subject will also be decided. Then that would be decided by the subject analysis itself. Like we would say that the person who is having interest in mathematics, that person may study mathematics in the afternoon, and the person who doesn't have interest in the mathematics, he or she should be studying mathematics in the early hours. So for determining the best schedule, the psychology will play an important role, and apart from that, the sociology will also play an important role. Like when we say that the girls should be studying in the morning hours, when we have the double shifts in the government school, we have the morning shift for the girls and the afternoon evening shift for the boys. Why is it that? Because of the sociological parameters, because we say that the girls will be safer if they reach home in the afternoon itself, and boys can travel in the evening also, because the safety issues are usually restricted to the girls more in comparison to the boys. Now let us take another point which has been given by Kirkpatrick, that is selecting appropriate facilities. Who will design it? Here again the economics will play an important role, because money will decide the appropriate facilities. Again the age factor of the students will also be taken into cognizance, then it will be answered by psychology. Again the why we are teaching, this question is answered by philosophy. So philosophy will also play an important role. So, and of course the sociology will also play an important role from the perspective that for whom it is being done. So selecting appropriate facilities is also an important question which has to be answered while designing the curriculum according to Kirkpatrick. Another important, as we are discussing the 10 generic points as given by Kirkpatrick. Now the another point is selecting appropriate instructor. Who is the instructor? The teacher. Appropriate instructor means the person should be well versed with the subject. Secondly, person should be having understanding of the age group of the students, that is psychological understanding, the foundation of psychology should be clear to him. Apart from that, he should be well versed with the language which is spoken by the student in the community at large. So the teacher or the instructor will also be selected based upon the sociological parameters, the psychological parameters, and of course the subject expertise. So here also the other subjects are coming together. That is why we say that the education is a multidisciplinary subject. Another point which has been given by the Kirkpatrick. Now let us try to understand that. Selecting and preparing audio visual aids. What does that mean? Here selecting the preparing an audio visual aids, that is also to be of the understanding of the child, and understanding of the child is judged by not just sociology but also from the sociological psychological perspective. And of course the economy will also play an important role, because if we being a developing country, we wouldn't like to go for audio visual aids which are very expensive. We would try to go for the models which are which can be generated again and again, and which are cheaper in mode, as well as can be easily prepared by the teachers at large. So selecting and preparing audiovisual aids will also needs the understanding of sociology, psychology, and of course the subject expertise. Now let us try to understand the other point, which is coordinating the program. Coordinating the program means he or she would be coordinating how that subject is to be taught. So again here the understanding of the students, that is answered by psychology. Then from which background the students are coming, that is answered by sociology. So, and of course the expertise of the teacher and understanding of the child of that particular subject. So again for the coordinating the program, again all the subjects have come together. Then the evaluating, that is assessment. Assessment also needs to understand that assessment will also define that where the students stand. So while evaluating the program, we are not saying the assessing the student or evaluating the instructor or evaluating the participant. We are saying evaluating the program. For evaluating the program also, whether it is successful or not, again we will have to take all those parameters which have been taken, or those disciplines which have been taken into consideration while deciding the other curriculum design, that is economics, sociology, psychology, subject expertise and philosophy. So, from here on what we understand is that for deciding curriculum design, we have to take all the discipline into cognizance. That is why we say education is a multidisciplinary subject, because for curriculum communication between the different actors, that is university administrators or the school administrators, course designers, coordinator, teachers, prospective student, it is important as aims and objectives of the learning outcome are decided, they should be of the most important factor is to define the learning process in a top down fashion. So friends, on this note, I, Dr. Renu Tomar, take your leave. I shall be joining you back again soon as to discuss the other points as well as studying. We will also try to understand the different perspective of philosophy of teaching. Friends, namaskar, good afternoon. Thank you.